Hey everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be continuing through our retrospective unbagging of the Imperium magazine with issue 31, and Imperium, as we've gone through in the previous 30 issues, is set within the Warhammer 40,000 setting. So moving through into the 30s, so we've done 30 issues, 60 more to go. Front of the cover for issue 31 is sporting what I suspect is probably a Blood Angel intercessor. Always nice to see various Space Marines on the artwork. And in terms of the contents of this issue, we will get a terrain feature, so the ruined Factorum, which I think was part of a Killzone release, which we will see in a little while. And anyway, in terms of what else is there, so we know about this terrain piece, the ruined Factorum, learn about the Blood Angels, so there you go, it is a Blood Angels intercessor, and some core rules regarding movement. And then we'll look at the terrain on the Sprue. Ruined Factorum, Shattered Remnants of War. Almost feels like a Warcraft title. So that's pretty much the pieces assembled and painted. Does look very cool. The Sprue itself does feel quite sturdy, so it looks like we'll have a main piece and a little small subsection here. And as I said, I think this was a previous release within some Killzone terrain pieces. Unsurprisingly, there is a battle record for the actual terrain. I don't know how that makes sense, but I'm sure if I sat down and read it, it will. Cyphers, Battle Zone, War-torn, Ruined District, Battle-scarred streets. So probably just discussing some of the actual I guess cosmetic is probably an okay word for it. The cosmetic and the actual landscaping, the scenery side of things. And we still have some battle records and some sector battles. So I guess it's just to give things a bit more of a thematic theme. Just so that it's, I don't know, once again, just gives it a little bit more character, I dare say. Actually, we didn't even really go through the contents. Anyway, in terms of the story, so we've got some information about Forge Worlds. So what is this? Forge World of Lucius, the Hollow Forge. Interesting they would call it Lucius, given that there's a Space Marine named Lucius who is pretty whack, in a good way. Anyway, Forge World. So kind of reminds, so I was going to say the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Scutari. We have some Titans as well, which is always nice to see. Agrippina, which is probably once again another world. A little blurb about the War of Cadia. And then we have some information about the Blood Angels, Sons of Sanguinius. That's a very nice piece of art. See if I can get into it without necessarily attracting the reflection of the lights. So we do have some nice information here about Blood Angels. Commander Dante, their current chapter master, the Floor, which is obviously their Red Thirst and the Black Rage, and then some Battle Cry, and obviously the artwork down here has them engaged with High Fleet Leviathan. Okay, how to build the Ruined Factorum. So it's pretty much clipping everything off the sprues, doing some cleanup, gluing things together. Was nice to see. So basically all the steps on how to build it, it's not too difficult, and how to paint. And we will be recommended, I guess, to use one of our larger brushes. So Corax White to actually base coat, Mephiston Red for some of the detailing, and then good old Nuln Oil to bring out those details. Bit of time with Abaddon Black on the skull symbol. Corax White once again for dry brushing. Still dry brushing. Some lead belcher. Still going through some lead belcher. So once again, it's just using all the paints that have been provided through the magazine to paint. So we've got a splash of corn red, Nuln Oil again, the second coming of Nuln Oil, and then just a quick final gallery based on how things are painted with the paints thus far. So that way, to be honest, assuming you're not too worried about what you put on the tabletop, would be perfectly acceptable. At least to me. I think that looks groovy as it is. Terrain tutorial. What is it with the words today? It's a terrain tutorial, so just going through some of this ruined Factorum that we've just gone through, and then some of the traits of it. Movement phase, so just going through some of the core rule sets. Normal move, advanced, stationary, fallback. What else was there? Move units. So obviously just the elements of the actual move phase. And then there is a urban warfare, Necron Space Marine scout mission. The usual promotional page for Imperium, which I've done a short for Combat Patrol, but I'll obviously be doing the Combat Patrol. Can't even call it retrospective because it'll be relatively live for Australia in the upcoming weeks. Coming soon, issues 32, 33. So issue 32 has the Cataphrone Destroy, which we saw the preview for via issue 30, and issue 33. So based on what I can see, looks like we've got some information about the Orcs, another mission obviously featuring the flayed ones, and how to do some shading, because we will have both the Reckland Flesh Shade and Cryptic Armor Shade Gloss, so 2 shades to come through. So once again, developing a very nice collection of paints. So that was the little page through of issue 31. In terms of what else was included, here's the giant sprue for the ruined Factorum. Does look very, very cool. Obviously certain pieces are not going to look too fantastic, such as those pieces. Other pieces, regardless of which side you flip it, will look good either way. So yes, I can definitely see why Noon made a heavy appearance. You know, between the dry brushing, some decent base coating, the shading will obviously really help bring out some of the detailing, as will some of the dry brushing as well. So once again, going back to what we saw in the gallery images, for what was done with what paints were available, I thought was really good. It's also quite sturdy as well, so that should be fun to put together. So that was the included terrain. Now, to put that back here, in fact, how about we do things weirdly? There's issue 31, there's a terrain piece, just so we can make things look a little bit pretty. So, issue 31 was the end of the 4 magazine bundle. So as we usually do at these endpoints, we do a comparison on the pricing. So as of issue 31 for the subscription back in the day in Australian dollars, this was just shy of $600 for the 31 issues. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. In terms of the actual pricing, and this is using standard Games Workshop retail pricing, which I understand has probably fluctuated over the years, so it's obviously a value probably plus or minus 15% variation to factor in inflation, etc. As of issue 31, to get terrain, models, paints, brushes, etc., 1,800 Australian dollars. So basically, at the point of issue 31, my subscription is basically netted me all of this inclusions for 1/3 of the cost, roughly. So I'm pretty stoked. So I'm really glad I kept up with this, and obviously thanks to going through this unboxing, getting Combat Patrol was like very little hesitation. In fact, I was just antsy about making sure the subscription went through. But definitely looking forward to seeing how that comes through. 9 more armies, some of which will supplement what I have, some others will just be some small army cohorts to get a feel for the painting and general army. Anyway, that is pretty much going to be the end of the retrospective for issue 31. We've done the price points, we've had a look through the magazine, we've had a quick look at the included sprue, so definitely not too bad for back in the day for issue 31. Thank you very much for watching this little retrospective video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. This does help support the channel, and I do appreciate it. Feel free to check out Instagram and the community tab, trying to keep that updated. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I did do a very quick short on combat patrol, but I will do these style of videos once the actual subscription finally lands, as opposed to the retail issue. It's just to basically see what the difference is between the retail and what will be the subscription. Shouldn't be any real differences, but you never know. Could be just slight little differences. Anyway, that being said, stay safe and take care, and I'll catch you in next week's retrospective for issue 32 or something else on the channel. See ya.